Okay, family. Lord Eric Steele, aka Big Rossi Love, here with another episode of FBA All Day. I'm going to be addressing questions and concerns I've been receiving about our FBA family. Today's question that I received was, why do FBA want to separate from other black people? That's a very good question. I found it profound that it had to be asked. I also came to mind the situation that happened just last week. There was a situation that gave me the perfect example of why we need to, why this has to be done. It's a necessity for us at this point. Okay? Now, I'm going to read to you from this case so that there's no misunderstandings, there's no misquotes. I'm going to read to you the facts of the case, okay? As they were in this court session. I'm going to read to you and then I'm going to explain to you. All right? So here we go. Follow along. In Chatham, Massachusetts, there was a rich kid named John Sheeran. Little rich kid named, well, not little. He's huge. He's about almost. He's about 6 feet. About 6 feet. Uh, Broad, big, stocky kid. If you ever get a chance, I'll show you some pictures of him so you'll see his build. He's not no baby, okay? He invited this black boy to meet him up at a pond. To meet him up at a pond in Massachusetts. I'm not sure why people haven't been training their children not to fall for these kind of shenanigans, but apparently him and the boy knew each other, and he invited the boy to meet him up at the pond, up at a Gooseneck Pond, okay? He knew the boy could not swim, and when the boy got there, the boy put on a life vest because they wanted to get in the water. Or they wanted him to get in the water, okay? So the boy put on a life jacket. He said that when the boy, according to the notes, when the boy got there, this John Sheeran and his other partner, who they failed to mention in this case for some reason, he was blotted out. They began to taunt the black boy and throw rocks at him to make him get in the water, even though they knew he couldn't swim. They began to throw rocks at him. So the boy, put on his jacket and he got in the water. I'm not sure what his thinking was there. But once he was in the pond, they started calling him names. And the name specifically that's in this case, the name that they have in the court records, this is not me making it up. They were calling him nigger with the hard R. Okay? That's the first thing. So this young rich boy, 15 years old, 15 years old, is already calling people nigger. This ain't the South. You know how the Democrats always try to make it seem like it's these little southern states where racism exists? This is Massachusetts. That's north of New York. Calling them nigger, okay? In 2025. They asked the little boy while he was out there in the pond if he liked his life. The rich white kid asked the black boy if he liked his life. And then his friend responded, not the black boy, the other white boy said, "You won't as you're drowning. You won't like your life as you're drowning." Then they began to push the boy underwater, knowing that he couldn't swim. They began to dunk him in the water and hold him underwater. So the little boy, when he finally came up for air, told him, "I can't breathe. Stop pushing me under the water. I can't breathe." They holding him underwater. He's choking and gasping and all this kind of carrying on. And when he told them he can't breathe, the other white boy said, "Oh, look, he's just like George Floyd." They're trying to drown him, and they're taunting him. Okay? They laughed and called him George Floyd. He says they left him alone for a little bit. The black boy said they left him alone for a little bit, but then they came back on a raft. So now they're in a boat trying to push him underwater, pulling him under by his jacket. They were pulling him under by the back of the vest, pulling him underwater. So then when they came back on the raft, Mr. Sheeran, the bigger of all of them, jumped in the water and was trying to pull the boy underwater by his feet. The black boy said all he could do was kick and scream to keep him from pulling him under by his feet. He was kicking and screaming and yelling. So finally, there was somebody on shore who heard the boy yelling and screaming. Help me, help me, help me. They trying to kill me. So he swims out there to get the boy, and when he gets to them on the raft, they laughing and smirking. Black boy's about to drown. They think it's the funniest thing ever. So he pulled him back to shore. The boys were smirking. Mr. Sheeran, he was even laughing and thinking it was funny at sentencing. He thought the whole ordeal was funny. And I know you're thinking to yourself, wow, Mr. Still, what does this have to do with, black people delineating? These are white people. Well, let me explain. I'm getting to that point. I'm giving you the facts of a case. Okay? These are the facts. And you can dispute the facts if you're an American in the American system. You're allowed to dispute the facts. You're allowed to have a trial and face your accuser under the system of justice in the United States. The system of justice. Mr. Sheeran, he pled guilty. And I'll tell you what he pled guilty to. Mr. Sheeran pleaded guilty to attempted murder. That's a felony with a sentence of up to 20 years in prison. Now you say, wow, Mr. Steele, that's a harsh sentence. Yeah, but he was charged as an adult. That's a little something they came up with to deal with the black people. That's one of those things they use on us. They charge our teens as adults. I can bring you up some cases where that's happened a lot in the South. They charge our 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. They're adults. They get charged as adults. So here's the curveball in Massachusetts. They charged him as an adult, and he pled guilty to attempted murder, was one charge, which has a ceiling of 20 years and a fine of $1,000. He also pled guilty to assault with a dangerous weapon, which is another felony punishable up to 5 years in state prison and a $1,000 fine. $20 years, a felony with 20 years max, and another felony with 5 years max. What do you think this kid was given? What do you think they gave him? He pled guilty. What do they do to black people when we plead guilty to crimes like that? Well, I'll tell you. Judge Sylvia Gomez, she looks black. Here's a picture of her. Here's a picture of Miss Gomez. She looks black, but she's actually Cape Verdean. Another Cape Verdean, i.e. Benzino. She identifies as white, even though she looks black. She's Cape Verdean. She came over here after our people fought for civil rights, because there was a time when Cape Verdeans weren't allowed in the United States. They weren't accepting visas from them. Excuse me. In case you people don't know, Cape Verdean is an island off of Africa. What do you think this black person, allegedly, what do you think she did? What do you think she gave this rich white boy? Okay. Judge Sylvia Gomez said she agreed with the rich white boy's attorney She said she didn't believe the black boy was a victim. Forget the fact that the little rich boy just pleaded guilty to doing this stuff. She don't think the black boy was a victim. Even though he almost drowned. Even though they were trying to drown him. Even though they were calling him racial slurs while they were trying to drown him. She said she didn't believe he was a victim at all. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we keep saying to you. A black colored face in a high place does us no good. This is that same nonsense we had to deal with Kamala Harris. Okay? This person was allowed to come over here. She used our resources. She went to a HBCU. Oh, yeah, she went to the HBCU, but she'll tell you quick as she can she ain't black. She'll tell you as fast as she can that she ain't black, although she did use our black resources. Oh, yeah, she used them up to her full capability. All of it. Guess what she gave that poor black boy? Imagine that. Imagine somebody that you thought you could trust pulling you underwater while you telling them you can't swim. And they just dunking you in the water, holding you underwater. And not just being there holding you, and then they go back and get a raft so they can be sure to hold you down for longer than they can be down there. And they calling you names. They calling you nigger. While they're doing it. Now see, if the roles were reversed, if that was a black person holding the Asian down and was calling the Asian chow chow or chink mix or something like that, it'd be a hate crime instantly. Just like that. It'd be instantly a hate crime. From the onset, it would have been a hate crime. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we are talking about. This is why we keep continually seeking justice. This is what it's all boiling down to. We have these people living among us, and they do not share the same insight as us. They do not share the same, they don't have any camaraderie with us whatsoever. They just have our skin tone. This lady thinks she's white, and her name is Gomez. That's a Latin name. This is why I don't have a problem with all the stuff that's going on to them right now. This is why you don't see black people fussing and fighting to save them. Every opportunity that comes up, these people stab us in the back. Every single opportunity. Cape Verdean Benzino said anybody that thinks they FBA are bozos, but he has no problem being called Puerto Rican. So we can't have our culture, but we better respect his culture. Anybody smelling that? These are the things we can no longer tolerate. The time has passed. We're done with it. We're done with it. We want our reparations so that we can take care of our people. Simple. All that other stuff is just noise. I don't care. I don't care about when they get deported. Now let me be very clear, because as I said before, this channel is not about hate. Okay? This is not a channel for hate. But what we are going to do is tell the truth. I have many faceted members from all over the diaspora that I deal with. I have Panamanians in my family. I have white people in my family at some point, I'm sure. Because we were on the plantations, and Master did not discriminate against any of the nice-looking women in my family. Believe me. I know this. I'm not even going to pretend like Master didn't visit none of the quarters. And knowing these dudes, they visited the men too. That's documented as well. The horrible stuff they did to black men. But as I said, I have so many years being raised in a military family, being a military brat. I have been raised with white people, with all kinds of nationalities of people. So I don't have a problem with these particular people per se. I have people that are very dear to me of different races. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. The problem comes in when it's time for us to need help from these people, it's never there. They just can't seem to speak up when we're being treated unfairly. Well, you know I'm not a racist. Yeah, but you were so silent when things were being done to us. You were so silent. When that Asian cop killed those people in New York, he shot the gun in the projects down the hall and killed those people who had nothing to do with anything. The Asian people, they didn't say, oh, he was wrong, we sorry black people. That's not what they did. They held a parade to try to get him off. And he was found guilty. And do you know what the Jamaican DA did when he was found guilty? He let him off. He gave him probation for murdering black people. What do you think happened in this case with Judge Sylvia Gomez? You have a rich white boy just pled guilty to attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Should have had 25 years easily. What do you think she did? This Howard, HBCU Howard Law School graduate. What do you think she did when the black boy was being abused? That was a hate crime. What do you think was her judgment? 3 years probation and 700 hours of community service. People, our children are going to have to deal with this system of white supremacy. And it is up to us to try to rectify as many of these things as we can. We have to speak when we see injustice. We have to speak. The time for sitting back thinking that these people have some sort of morals or they're in some sort of black and brown camaraderie, forget it. Just forget the nonsense. It doesn't exist. Okay? We are on our own. We've been on our own. We are going to have to fix these things ourselves. Do you understand that? Teach your children, single mothers, all you mothers out there, you better pull your son to the side and help him understand when his life is in danger. You don't go to some desolate place with anybody by yourself. This is not the time for that. You don't let your child go off to some place where he could be taken advantage of like that. I can't say that the boy should have seen this coming. Apparently they went to the same school, or they friends or some kind of way, or the boy usually hangs around them. I'm not sure. But certain things you got to raise your kids now. This is not the time. This is not kumbaya session. This is the same thing they did for Kyle Rittenhouse. If you think a couple years back, the judge in his case said when the district attorney was calling the person who got killed a victim, the judge got mad. You're not going to call him a victim in my court, but judge, he got murdered. That's what a victim is. Not in my court. You're not going to call him a victim in my court. Come on, man. It's time out. It's time out. This is why we are delineating. We have to separate ourselves and recognize these people are different and act accordingly. These people they're not us. These are skin folk. They are not kin folk. And you can look to my other videos for definitions if you don't understand what I'm saying to you right now. Look at the video I have called Definitions and you'll know exactly what I say. You'll understand exactly why I say what I'm saying. That lady Sylvia Gomez is a disgrace. She should not be on anybody's bench judging any. If she couldn't see that that's a hate crime, in the very least, that's a hate crime. Calling somebody nigger while you're trying to drown them, that should be the definition of hate crime. Not to her, though. Not to Miss Cape Verde. Nope. Not even a victim. Or we'll just give this rich white boy probation and some community service. That boy was laughing before he went into court. He was laughing when he came out of court. His daddy got over $1 million something house. He ain't Probation, and what's that to him? He going home. Oh, lesson learned though, huh? Lesson learned. Pay attention, my people. This is not the time for you guys to be not paying attention. You better be woke. You better be conscious. You better be paying attention. Your kids' lives are in mortal danger while you guys are out here playing kumbaya. And they want to know why we not helping. Where's the Latino community on this? Her last name is Gomez, isn't it? Shouldn't somebody be investigating that? There should be no delay. Justice delayed is justice denied, is what they tell us. Listen, there's no hate. I don't hate. I recognize the enemy. We recognize that they're trying to run games, but we see through it. We see through these games. You guys up there in Massachusetts need to get it together. There is an office of NAACP, NAACP. That's it. Tongue-tied there. There is an office up there. They should be running all kind of petitions to get that judge removed from bench by now. But you have these old people who are always trying to pray things away, and that's why we keep on being prey. Look that up. They pray. They keep praying. Meanwhile, we keep being the prey. Okay. Anyhow. All right, family. This is a heartfelt story I felt I should share with you, and it aligned with this question. Why do FBA want to separate from other black people? Because people that have our skin tone does not make them us. They do not share camaraderie with us, and they do not care about justice for us. They do not care. They think they're something else. This lady, Sylvia Gomez, she has a skin tone of a black person, but if you ask her, she thinks she's white. She thinks she's something other. She don't think she black. You know who else is like that? What's the slut lady that Kanye married? What is her name? Amber Rose. She's another one. They asked her on the Charlemagne show. I think that was a radio show. They asked her, "Do you think you're a black woman?" She, "I ain't black. I ain't black." Another Cape Verdean. They think there's something else, bro. She got her fame from us. The world wouldn't know about Amber Rose if it wasn't for black people. As soon as she got her money, she ain't black. Pay attention to these people. This is why we don't want no. That's fine. We're not saying you have to be black, but stay over there. Stay over there. We see you. Stay over there. When your families get deported, don't come looking for black people to stick up for y'all. Don't come crying talking about why we ain't saying nothing. We not going to say nothing. Handle it yourself. Deal with it yourself. Time and time again, we see these things happening. And your people don't correct it. So then don't look at us asking why we want to separate. You don't hear anybody. You don't hear that National Cape Verdean Association or whatever. They don't scold her. They haven't said nothing about her mistreating black people. Okay, we see you. Now, these are facts. I've read to you from the court papers. This is not me making this story up. You can look this up yourself. His name is John Sheeran in Chatham, Massachusetts. Look, it just happened. The sentencing was the 5th of February. This is 2025. This is why we are delineating. All right? And like I said again, it's not hate. We're just recognizing the game. And we're just not going to play anymore. Lord Eric Still, Foundational Black Americans, I love you guys. A.K.A. Big Rossi. Love, it's always love. But we're going to have to address this thing. It's not going away. These things are not going away. This is why we don't care about them taking away all those little programs and set-asides that were supposed to be for us anyways, that we don't get a piece of. Yes, take the program away. Yeah, don't give any more of our resources away. I'm for it. Kill them programs. Yep, get rid of them. Yep. Tear it all up. That's right, get rid of it. We ain't benefiting from it anyway. What benefit do we get from it? Exactly. All right. Well, again, this is your brother, Lord Eric Steele, Big Rossi Love, telling you guys, please be aware. Please keep your heads on straight. Pay attention to your children and where they're going. Keep these babies away from these harmful situations, y'all. Come on. All right? Pay attention. I love you, and I'm out.